that I see that's really important is that even though he's making the save, Sawicki, the wing shots are on the goal. What you'll tend to do is the goalie comes up big is start to miss the goal because you want the perfect shot.
Shots are 10-8 in favor of Philadelphia. 4:28 to go in the first. They trail Detroit 2-1, but here they come. John Conley at 5-6 scores!
Ironically enough, Mark, both goals are from about 20 yards. This is going to come off the hip, and it's off the hip. You see, I think it might have caught his shin guard of his knee. So that's the place you want to go, is right off his hip or maybe down off his ankle.
With that defense that Detroit plays, is Conley that much more of an important part of the Wings' offense tonight because he's such a good long-range shooter?
Possibly, except that I'm not sure how many of those you can put by on Sawicki. That's the only problem. The other was a man-up situation where Tucker was able to get in 5 yards closer than that. But certainly Conley, and it's a real good point, becomes real important if he can start to put those away.
Number 3 on the year for Conley, his 7th point, unassisted, and we're tied at 2. And we have another breakaway again. This is Tucker. Shoots wide to the near side. I'm not sure if Sawicki got a piece of it or not. At any rate, the shot clock recirculates, but another turnover. Here come the Wings. Gabrielson for Tucker. Back for Gabrielson. He is checked. Looks to loop it there for Manley, who's got it now.
I tell you what, the turf is coming up at both ends in front of the goal, and it's causing people to fall down.
A lot of loose ball activity right now in the Detroit zone. Remember, those loose balls, very important. It's a stat as to how many loose balls a player comes up with. And we have a stoppage in play right now, and it looks as though it's going to be Wings possession in the Detroit zone.
It should be. If they're going to stay consistent with it, it was certainly a push by the Turbos in the corner on the boards. Now they're going to cause a face-off.
And Durgel will be out there to take it against the Detroit captain, Ron Martinello. Durgel excellent at face-offs. And he comes up with his own face-off, or does he? No, there's Martinello, and now the Wings do have it. Well, you never know until somebody finally comes up with solid possession. 3:25 to go first quarter. Detroit and Philadelphia tied at 2. The battle for first place. And Martinello has it for Detroit, and here they come back.
Right back to the Turbos.
Garreno has it broken up nicely by Tucker, and here comes Philadelphia. Mark Hahn, who has 6 goals to his credit. The lefty takes the shot, kept it low, and Sawicki saw it. Nice rebound there by Gabrielson. Back for Hahn, winds, fires, and that was deflected by a Detroit player, Kevin Hamlin. And the Turbos now with possession.
They try to get some breaks, but you can see they're much slower. They need ball movement to really get transition against a much quicker Wings team.
And Tucker, who has it now, made a nice play to force the turnover. Good pass for Hahn, but he can't unload that left-handed shot. Now he backs off, and they'll set up their set offense. With 2.5 to go in the first, the team's tied at 2.
Like Conley, Wilson, 55, has that great outside shot, great velocity and location. He'll get those arms away from his body, and he can really snap them off, so he too might become important.
Andy Wilson's line out there now with Chris Dent, the rookie, Tony Resch, the captain, Gary Martin, and, of course, big number 30, Brad Kotz, who was stoned early on a breakaway. Brad has it now. Very accurate shooter. Feeds in front there as they ran a play in front for Andy Wilson. And we have possession for the Wings as a push is called against Detroit.
Yeah, it was an excellent call. Wilson got in underneath all by himself on a great pick. Scott Boyle called the push from way back. It was a real good job.
And now some extracurricular stuff going on here between Rob Alvino and Gary Martin.
I think.
Now we have a timeout being called. We'll keep it right here with 2 minutes and 3 seconds to go. And the teams are tied at 2.
It's interesting to watch the philosophy of Martinello, Mito Martinello, the coach for the Turbos, defensively, because anybody who runs through any place from 10 to 15 yards of that cage is going to get whacked by sticks, by bodies, with or without the ball. You're going to get hit, and you're going to take punishment, and everybody you can just see cutters going through and getting whacked. And it's the first time of the 4 games that we've seen the Wings play that the opposing team has come up with this philosophy. That's going back to stereotype, old-time traditional box lacrosse defense, and that's what this team plays, and you can play that and you can give the perimeter, as we've said so many times, because of Sawicki. But I'll tell you, they're getting the transition breaks, the Wings. They've had good opportunities. Sawicki's come up big, but you can only come up big so many times, and it's going to tell on the course of 4 quarters. I think Evans has got to be real happy with the way things are going right now, and I think Bilger has got himself into the game.
Sawicki has been tremendous. Ted Sawicki, the goaltender for Detroit, those 39 saves a game, by the way, tops in the major indoor lacrosse league. And he has faced 13 shots already, 8 for Detroit, and here come the Wings again looking for more. Caught straight away, fires, and another save by Sawicki. New shot clock, a fresh 45. If the Wings can come up with possession, Gary Martin does, and play on. Tries to pass for Tony Resch, broken up by Detroit, and here come the Turbos. With 1:45 to go in the first quarter.
Turbos led by 16, Gord Daly.
Pat Lee with a shot. Save is made by Bilger. Here comes the transition game. Out in front it goes, and it's a lead. The shot, and it's wide to the near side. That was Andy Wilson who was ahead of the pack, and that shot was wide to the near side. Tony Resch takes a hit. The Wings captain, he goes down on that near side. Pat Lee in there for Detroit, and finally the Turbos have possession.
See how they catch the box. The first defenseman off the downside or near side to the goal. The next man in offensively, and that's who Sawicki looks for all the time on the break.
Shot taken there by Detroit's Chris Riva, and Woods has the rebound and a fresh 45 for the Turbos. With a minute to go in the first quarter. Aldridge, and he fired that wide to the far side. Another rebound. Lee had it for a second for Detroit. Comes out to the neutral, and now Wilson for Philadelphia. Nice little flip for Kotz as Wilson really took a beating there, and the possession foul is called. It will go in favor of the Wings.
Scott Boyle and his crew have certainly remained consistent with the referees. They've called everything from behind, and that takes a lot away from the way Detroit plays defense. So it causes you to get the ball back. So you can put up with those pushes if they're going to get called, and they have been so far. Nice job by the referees.
John Conley out there now with Paul French, Matt McGeady, Mark DeSico, and Lou Delegati, who's got it now. 26 seconds to go in the quarter. French behind as they triggered from there. Conley scores!
That time they were in a pure zone, and we see Conley get underneath the middle man in the zone, and the feed comes from behind the goal. Sawicki's got to turn his head and come find the shooter and can't do it. That's a great way to beat him. As you see, Conley all alone snuck into the open area of the zone, was able to put it home.
For John Conley, his second tonight, his 4th of the year, 8 points altogether, among the smallest in the league at 5'6", 155, but he's gotten the job done so far here tonight at a timeout now on the floor with 22 seconds to go here in the first quarter.
Now that's the first time tonight, Mark, that I saw them in a pure zone defense where they're playing what we would almost call a dice 5. So it's 2-1-2 defense, and the middleman is supposed to pick up anybody who comes into the crease area. The Wings were very smart. They sent somebody high that defense been worried about, and then Conley snuck in low. The ball went behind the feed over top, and they have Sawicki where they want him. So excellent job and real nice ball movement.
So Detroit, who jumps on top 2-0 thanks to brothers Martinello, get 1 from Tucker, 2 from Conley to answer and make it 3-2 with 22 seconds to go here in the quarter. Remember, Detroit defensively is giving up only 8 goals a game, and they've given up 3 here in the first quarter of play. There is an art to these faceoffs, I'm sure. I mean, I'm not privy to the nuances, but there is an art to it, I'm sure.
Yeah, Mr. Durgel puts on a clinic.
That was Durgel flipping it ahead for Tucker. Broken up, and here comes Dan Chris for Detroit. Guarded by Tucker with 7 seconds to go in the quarter. One chance perhaps as here comes Durgel for the Wings. It's a 1-on-3, and boy, Sawicki's going to save that. He saved many tougher ones so far here tonight. The quarter ends, and that'll do it. The first 15 minutes have gone by, and the Wings coming back from a 2-0 deficit, leading it 3-2 after 1. Along with Tony Seaman, I'm Mark Zumoff. 1 quarter complete, and the Wings leading the Turbos after falling behind 2-0.
We're going to see Kevin Bilger, who is just starting to really get his confidence now, starting to make some real good saves. He covers the 5-hole that time. But really what's a key for Kevin Bilger is his looks downfield, a great breakaway pass to Brad Cox. Brad comes in, and at the other end, a guy who's just doing an unbelievable job is Mr. Sawicki as he makes an elbow save.
Brothers Martinello, the sons of the head coach, Vito Martinello, getting Detroit off. And then John Tucker and 2 from Conley, and that's where we stand right now after the first 15.
Talking about style or technique, you'll see Durgel step with his left foot to the left, step forward. You'll see him try to get his stick. What he tries to do is push his fist down into the turf, clamp the ball, and now he's got control of it. Then he'll get it to who he wants to go to. The way to fight that is to try to lift up on his clamp and get his stick out of there.
And now players trying to clamp on each other. As finally Detroit almost comes up with possession. And now Conley, who had 2 goals in that first quarter, has it for the Wings. And there is Hamlin, who took his gloves off as he was face-to-face there with the Wings' Mark DeSico. DeSico just kind of raised his hands and said, hey, let's play on. And that's what they do, and Detroit now has possession. Chris was ridden there nicely by McGeady, and French is able to come up with a loose ball, and the Wings will have possession.
Kevin Hamlin is a real interesting story. We got to keep your eyes on him tonight, number 24. He always had wanted to be a professional ice hockey goalie. Didn't make it. He's the fighter. He's the intimidator. He'd rather do anything on this field but play lacrosse. He wants to fight, and he wants to get somebody in a fight. So keep your eyes on number 24.
Number 11 for Philadelphia, Paul French has it right now. Gets a screen from Conley and McGeady and shoots one low, and Sawicki saw it all the way, made the save. Loose ball is taken by Detroit's Terry Martinello, who already has a goal tonight. Can he beat Conley? No, Conley has an angle on him. Now the left-handed shot is high and wide to the far side. Deep rebound for DeSico. No, as he is buried at center, and that foul is going to be called against Detroit, and Philadelphia will take possession.
By Rob Martinello.
And it's going to be a 2-minute penalty on Martinello, and that will give Philadelphia their second man advantage on the night. They are 1 for 1 on the power play.
Here you see, it's called tackle. And he takes him down with a gain of 5 yards. So it's a power play now for the Wings. They scored on the last one. John Tucker found the first 10 in the goal. Let's see what happens now.
Is it purely referee's judgment as to whether or not it's a possession penalty or whether or not a man will serve 2 minutes?
Yeah, I think so. All right, we see the old box defense by the Detroit Turbos. They've got it 2-2, and that's how they'll try to attack the offense of the Wings.
Wilson with a shot and had 2 Turbo players right in front of him, has to scramble back to get it. Tucker. Shot by Kotz. Rebound there by French. And it was on goal, a fresh 45, but Detroit now comes up with possession, and we're going to have a penalty here against Lou Delegati.
I think the foul was against. Lou didn't get the penalty. It was done to him. There it is right there. And then goes for the bad knee. And Scott Boyle behind with a hand up, so it's number 20, Lee, goes to the penalty box. So now we're 2 men down for the Turbos. So they only have 3. They'll go in a triangle, 1-2, against the 5-man attack by the Wings.
Roughing is the call. 2 men up now for the next minute 23 will be the Wings.
Okay, the Wings are putting Delgatti behind the goal. They've got him there. I don't know if he's going to try to sneak him and hit Kotz out front. This will be interesting. Here comes Kotz.
With the shot wide near side. And Detroit, very important for them to get possession and use up as much of the clock here as possible. Now they get it across center. Once you do that, you can't bring it back into your own zone. This is Rob Albino doing a nice job of penalty killing as Andy Wilson for the Wings is right on him. And now we have a whistle coming from Scott Boyle.
Now we have an illegal substitution, I believe, here on the bench. And it could be another 2 minutes. Now, if this is the case, it should be a penalty shot.
Too many men? Because they already have 2 men in the box? Will they wait now until the first of the 2 penalties expires?
I don't know. The MILL now, I believe it's a penalty shot. When you got 2 in the box, according to the rules, it's supposed to be a penalty shot.
And that's what it is.
That's what it is.
And Brad Cox is going to take it. You could choose any man to take it, I presume.
Right. Any man that you want in that case, when it's the 3rd penalty, can take it. They give it to their high scorer, the MILL.
And they stand here at the Spectrum, a huge crowd, as Cox, the leading scorer in the league, goes against the leading goaltender of the league, Ted Sawicki. He's already stoned him once on a breakaway. No goal. No goal. I think it may have hit the crossbar, bounced down, no goal. So he beat Sawicki, but he couldn't beat the crossbar.
All right, let's watch it. We watch him come in. Here he comes. He's going to dig him high. He tries to get him drawn, and you got it. He got the top pipe, right where the 2 pipes come together, the horizontal and the perpendicular, the one coming up from the ground, the vertical and horizontal come together. You see it top right corner. Just watch it clank right off of there. Bang. Right in the middle of it. He put it where he wanted to, just a fraction of an inch away.
So Brad Kotsu could not play for the Wings last year as he was starting his first year of education at the University of Pennsylvania's Wharton School. Now in his 2nd year, but I guess he's gotten used to the academics, and he's found the time to play. And I think the Wings are very happy about it.
And also to be an assistant coach for me, thank God. And with his knowledge and talent and the respect that our kids at Penn have for his abilities, he's done an unbelievable job. Now we're still man up. Still 2 men up.
For the next 45 seconds. Kotz again with another opportunity. And that one was wide, so still 30. No, they did say it was on goal, so a fresh 45 now for Philadelphia. Again, you have to get it on goal within 45 seconds or it's a turnover. Wilson with a shot, and Sawicki saw it all the way. Now Sawicki with a lead, and it's a beauty. Bill Baroza back against Kotz one-on-one, and Baroza's only interest here is to kill off this 2-man disadvantage for Detroit, and he's doing a nice job. Remember now, you can't go to the other side of the midline. There he lost it. Picked up, however, by Brian Barnes. 6 seconds to go on the 2-man advantage for the Wings. As John Tucker is in there now.
That's right. Baroza was just hacksawing away, axing away. He was just chop after chop after chop on the Wings against the boards, namely against Andy Wilson. And Tucker came in from the bench and said, "Gentlemen, that's enough of that." You see him come down. Tucker comes down and says, "Mr. Baroza, here, try this on."
I asked the Wings coach, Dave Evans, I said, this Detroit team is known for trying to intimidate. Are you afraid of intimidation? He said it'd be a waste of time if they tried to come into our building and do that.
Yeah, I think that's definitely true. Baroza's going to go to the penalty box. If Fighting Tucker goes out, same thing.
Well, the bottom line is offsetting penalties. Now, if they're majors, they would cancel each other out, and I think it's going to be coincidental minors. So where would that leave Detroit then, now, with 2 men already in the box? I realize I'm putting you on the spot here.
I think because it is simultaneous or coincidental fouls, then that penalty shot rule does not affect what happens here, and I think that they're going to be 1 man up. It'll be 4 against 3 instead of 5 against 4.
Penalties to the Wings,
John Tucker and Bill Baroza. So that's the major situation that we had talked about. 2 5-minute majors then?
2 5-minute majors.
Where they will just cool off themselves and they will be lost respectively for their individual teams, but it will not affect who plays man up and man down. So they cancel each other out, and Tucker and Baroza are just lost. Their personal services are lost now for the next 5 minutes.
Yes, and Mito Marnello is very upset down there, but if I was him in his shoes, I'd be thrilled, because anytime you can take John Tucker off for 5 minutes and take a player like Bill Baroza, who just doesn't give to the Turbos what Tucker gives to the Wings, you've got a great match. You've done a good job, and Baroza did what he was supposed to do.
Exactly. Tucker, the 2nd leading scorer in the league, already has a goal tonight on the power play. Baroza himself, a former goaltender, only with 1 goal. In case you're wondering, it is 3-2 Wings, 11:41 to go here in what has been a wild 2nd quarter, as wild as you can get without any scoring.
Yeah, it sure is. I mean, you got the whole crowd just going crazy. They've seen a penalty shot. They've seen man up. They've seen numerous breaks. Great goaltending at both ends. And here's Durgel just controlling.
Now Detroit gets a man back here. So It is 5-on-4 now for the Wings for the next 27 seconds.
I think I saw Durgel come out with a badly sprained ankle just now. That could be real bad news for their face-off because they have just dominated.
And they had only 4-on-4, and there finally Gary Martin does come out for the Wings. Delegati has it now with 20 seconds on the shot clock. Looks to play it for Martin, and it gets by him. But French goes for Wilson. Straight away, shot, score!
I'm positive that Sawicki gets screened on this play, and I think that he also knows Andy Wilson very well. They're neighbors from the same hometown. Andy Wilson's a great person to have in the middle on this man up because he's got such velocity. And there he hums it by, and he's going to say immediately to his defense, hey, you got to go pick that guy up outside. That's not John Tucker. That's Andy Wilson. He's got velocity. He's got that sidearm shot. Get him.
So the Wings now 2 for 2 on the power play tonight. And for Wilson, it is his 8th goal of the year. He was the number 6 scorer in the league coming in. Andy Wilson from Windsor, Ontario. And you have at least 8-9 players from this Detroit team from Windsor. But it's Philadelphia's Andy Wilson with the goal, the number 1 draft choice of the Wings a year ago.
And we got to be happy to see Bill Durgel out there in the face-off circle. I really thought that he had hurt his ankle pretty severely, but he's right back 2 minutes later, so I guess he is all right.
French and Delegati are getting assists. Delegati, by the way, is tied for number 1 in the assist department in the league. So we still have 1 Detroit player and 1 Philadelphia player in the box. That's Baroza for Detroit and John Tucker for the Wings. But remember, they're in there serving majors. So we're finally playing 5-on-5 for what seems to be the first time in the second quarter. We've only played about 4 minutes here. The Wings getting the first marker of the second, and they lead it 4-2. But here comes Detroit. Out in front, alone, shot, score. And that was Gar Renault. His first goal of the year, and it's 4-3 now. The Detroit. Oh, wait a second here.
Yeah, we had a right at the face-off. Durgel won it cleanly back to his own man. His own man went to bend to pick up the ball, but got run over top and got a cross-check right in the face and put him down on the ground. And that's why the Turbos had the open man at the other end.
That was Scott Gabrielson, number 6, who went off for the Wings, apparently injured.
All right, and it was Martinello, number 6, who cross-checked him and put him on his back.
Well, it apparently went unseen by the 3 pairs of eyes that we have out there. And there's Renault with his first goal of the year. It was the first shot of the period for Detroit, and they now cut it to 1 at 4-3. Time of the goal, 4 minutes and 5 seconds.
See the referee there placing the ball, getting both sticks even, so they're both vertically straight. Neither one is leaning into the other. You see Durgel clamp and come up with the ball.
Play getting very physical now as Hamlin is out there with Resch, and a hold. Only a possession here for the Wings. A holding penalty is called, or a holding foul, I guess you might say. And now the Wings attack quickly in front. They score!
Yeah, they catch them at their own game. They catch the Turbos and a Mito Martinelli coach team at their own game. They catch them by surprise. A great look downfield. Mark Hahn, we said it all year long, Mark. Mark Hahn is the best cherry picker in the game. There he is all by himself. The far end, he gets hit with a pass and puts it home.
Well, you know, the complaint about Hahn's cherry picking is the fact that it makes him weak defensively, but for 2 years he led Baltimore in goal scoring, and because he was so effective cherry picking, they decided to overlook the defensive deficiencies, and right here he strikes for number 7.
You know, and it's funny, this year so far, I have never seen a time that Mark Hahn breaking out of the pack and going down to cherry pick or hang has caused any kind of defensive problem. None whatsoever. So, you know, I think he's been excellent.
Mark Hahn. Number 34, Bill Durgel, and number 20.
Hahn, a brilliant off-season acquisition for the Wings to bolster their goal scoring. And he has come up with one here to give the Wings a 2-goal margin. 10.5 to go in the second. They lead Detroit 5-3, and they have possession. This is the rookie, Chris Dent. Had it knocked away, but Kotz has it now. He's lethal. Shoots, saves, Sawicki. And the rebound taken by Sawicki himself. And here comes Detroit now in their transition.
Real nice job by the Wings. Got back real well.
Tom Aldridge, a Chicago options trader, number 17. The shot taken by Chris Riva, and the save is made, and Kotz in transition loses it and gives Detroit a chance to get back defensively. Now quickly into the zone for Resch. He gets by him, and there's Aldridge, the fellow we talked about moments ago, getting back, and here come the Turbos. Well, we had some real choppy physical play in the first 5 minutes, and now we see a little bit more of the transition game coming back again.
And the Wings are getting back very well on defense, really not giving any kind of breakaway or even an unsettled shot early.
Matt Cacciato with a screen from Brian Barnes, with good defense by Kotz. Now Christ, double pick. Off the ball was Rob Alvino, has it now. Armando Rodriguez, taken down nicely by Wilson, but Rodriguez still with it. 10 seconds to go on the shot clock. Cacciato against Tony Resch. Looks for screens off the ball. Now Alvino. Loose ball, and here come the Wings. Gary Martin has it for Philadelphia. Racing in transition. Has Kotz with him. Out in front. Pass Wilson. Fake. Shot. And a save is made by Sawicki. I don't even think Wilson got any mustard on that whatsoever. Maybe one too many fakes by Andy. Meantime, I think we have a penalty or a foul coming up against Detroit. Let's see. It looks to be a 2-minute penalty being called by referee Scott Boyle.
Yeah, we sure do. Gary Martin, and then he gave it to Wilson. We see the thing about Sawicki is no matter how many times you fake him, he waits for the ball to come out of the stick, and that's the whole key to the game. I think what you want to do is you've got to get his eyes going somewhere, and when you see where they go, then you got to go the other place. You can't go where you're faking. But if you get that much time, Mark, you might as well use it to fake and try to put it home. But at least the one thing they're doing is they're not missing the cage. They're making this guy make every save tonight. And that's the important thing to do against a good goalie. The better the goalie, make him make the saves.
As you saw, Dan Chris going off for Detroit. And the Wings, who are 2 for 2 of the man advantage tonight, go to work. Kotz with a shot. Sawicki sticked it aside. And that's Kotz scrambling back for the Wings to get it and set it up with a fresh 45. 8.5 to go in the second. Wings up 5-3, looking for more. Wilson with a shot that was wide. Almost had his own rebound. And there comes Bilger way out of his net to help the Wings set it up again.
You can see the velocity that Wilson gets on a shot. Just incredible, the speed. That's probably up near 90, 95 miles an hour.
Tucker, the point man on this man advantage, has it now. He's the man straight away, number 2. Kotz in front. French off a screen. Saves Sawicki. Wilson looks for a rebound. Tucker has it now. Nice blind pass for Wilson in front, and a good save by Sawicki. They try to keep going to the 5-hole, and Sawicki keeps closing it. Now Sawicki way out of his net to help with a penalty killing. And it went by Woods. Ball is loose.
You got a penalty on DeSico coming out of the penalty box and destroying a turbo.
Delayed penalty as off comes Sawicki. So it's actually 5-on-5 now as the Turbos here. And now, with a man going down for Detroit, DeSico knocking a man down. He is going to go off. It looks to be for slashing against Mark DeSico. That looks to be the call by Mike Bierman. And with 7:39 to go here in the second, we'll have a partial man advantage for Detroit. They could use it. They're down by 2. Big crowd here at the Spectrum, and so far so good for the Wings as they lead it by 2, but a double minor penalty now on Mark DeSico. 2 minutes for slashing, 2 minutes for cross-checking. He has 12 minutes now on the league, on the year. That makes him the number 1 penalty minute man in the MILL this year. So for the next 49 seconds, the teams will play 4 aside, and then for 3 minutes and 11 seconds, Detroit will get themselves a power play, their first of the night.
Now, I think because of their speed, I think the Wings have an advantage here at 4-on-4. I think they've got people who can go one-on-one better than the Turbos have, and they want to try to get this ball and get down to the offensive end and use their quickness and use their speed in that situation.
So for the first time in the game, we'll see the man-down situation for the Wings, and each team, by the way, has a set man-up and a man-down. Of course, they still have to go another 49 seconds here, 4-on-4. That Martinello line for sure will be out there for Detroit. Again, Terry and Ron, the 2 sons of Coach Mito Martinello. And they'll be looking goalward. Martinello has it now. That's Terry Martinello. He has one, tries to sift one through for Kevin Hamlin, and Hamlin has it now for Detroit. Works a nice little role play for Martinello. Rebound and a score. And that was Ron Martinello getting his second of the night, his 9th of the year. And I guess the worst part about it is the fact that the power play hasn't even started yet. It's 5-4. The Wings lead cut to 1.
What we see here is we see a pick and roll, the old-fashioned basketball pick and roll, but you're allowed to do things in this pick and roll that you're not allowed to do on a basketball court. And that's where the man with the ball, the player without the ball, comes over and clobbers the man who's playing the guy with the ball, and then he immediately goes to the goal and gets the return pass. And as we saw there, Bilger makes a great chest save, but the rebound comes out. The man's open, picks it up, number 6, and puts it home for the Turbos. So we have a 5-4 ball game.
And you can cancel out one of the 2 penalties assessed to DeSico, and he will now have to serve only one of them. 33 seconds to go on the 4-on-4, so it'll be a 1-minute and 11-second power play instead of a 3-minute and 11-second power play. And that's Martinello from Windsor, Ontario, one of a number on this team from that area, getting his second on the night. And Detroit with possession. That's Terry Martinello. For Ron Martinello, his shot is short-circuited. Rebound, and he went behind his back with that one. Hamlin with a follow-up. Another shot and a score. The Turbos smelling blood. They go in for the kill. They get 2 goals just that quickly and tie the game at 5.
Just a lot of rebounds. Bilger makes one save. It comes out. He can't find it. And then the second time, it beats him off his left ankle. And just real good job by the Turbos picking up rebounds. Watch Bilger. One, he didn't find that one. And then the other one goes off his left ankle and into the cage. So just like that, the Turbos are back in the game.
For Gar Renault, that is his second of the night. And we are tied at 5. The goals come just 18 seconds apart. Martinello and Renault. And we are tied at 5.
It's funny, I said in a 4-on-4 situation, I thought that the Wings had the advantage. The problem is they've never had the ball to get down to the offensive end, and the Turbos have done a great job 4-on-4 by the pick and roll.
Kevin Hamlin for Detroit, by the way, with an assist on that goal. He has 4 on the night. And now we have a power play coming up for the Turbos for the next minute 11 as Dan Chris comes out of the box. Right now the Wings with possession. Or do they? No, here comes Detroit. Lead for Alvino. And a nice play there by Gabrielson to take him off the play.
Gabrielson's the person who got hit before on that face-off for the 3rd goal of the night for the Turbos and went out with the trainer. He's back, and he'll be looking for a little revenge, I would imagine.
Now Detroit, who has just scored 2 goals on the power play for the first time tonight. Remember, the Turbos, ironically, the most penalized team in the league this year. Rodriguez. Martinello. Pass in front, bouncing shot. And that one goes above the crossbar, but Martinello with that long rebound and a fresh 45. I don't know why it recirculates. I'm not sure that shot was on goal.
I certainly didn't hit anything, or the goalie didn't make the save. There's a nice save by Bilger.
Bilger quickly looking in transition, has the ball batted away dangerously. Here's Martinello, and we have a whistle.
Yeah, Bilger picked it up with his hand.
And it's going to be possession Detroit.
Smart play. He looked for the outlet pass. Martinello knocked it down on the ground. Bilger came out and dove for it. Couldn't get it with his stick, so he picked it up with his free hand, and that means change of possession.
5:38 to go. The battle for first place is underway. We are tied at 5. Detroit, the expansion team, coming in at 3-0. The Wings at 3-1. Technically in 3rd place, just behind the New York Saints, who are also 3-1. That is the head referee there, by the way, Scott Boyle, discussing things with brothers Martinello. I am told that New York won last night. They are the defending champions, by the way, so they are 4-1 now.
Right. They've moved their house but kept the same team. They've gone from the Meadowlands to the Long Island Coliseum. Nice defense by Manley.
And into the crowd it goes. Possession will go to the Wings. There's Hahn cherry picking. And there's the tree. Ted Sawicki. Well, he's been like a brick wall tonight, unquestionably. He has been excellent in goal for Detroit. The game is tied at 5.
And we're back 5-on-5.
And a score, as that one was kept low, and they got it by Bilger. And Detroit now has come back with 3 unanswered goals to take a 6-5 lead. The goal, I believe, is going to go to Gar Reno, and if so, that'll be the hat trick.
Yeah, if it skips right up over Bilger's right hip on a nice shot. He was left alone. Nobody got to him. The defenseman tried to stick his stick in there and block the shot, but to no avail. And Kevin Bilger knows he should have made a save on that shot.
Well, it's Chris Rive getting credit. And a 6-5 Detroit lead. It comes with 5:14 to go here in the second. So the Wings, who have outshot Detroit 28-19, but the Turbos getting the better of it on the scoreboard.
Yeah, and how costly now Tasico's 2 penalties were.
And the number 1 line for the Wings out there now, looking to score. This is Resch, one of 3 co-captains. They try to play it for Kotz. It's broken up, the turnover, and here come the Turbos.
Not a wise pass by Gary Martin. Tried to force the middle.
Barnes dodges by Wilson. Shot score by Brian Barnes. 4 unanswered goals for Detroit, and they lead at 7-5.
I'll tell you, as confident as Bilger was 10 minutes ago, he seems to have lost it all now as this barrage has started. We just see a simple overhand shot that he just can't get his feet to. He tries to commit a foot instead of just standing tall and letting the bounce come up. And once again, a nice shot by number 4, Brian Barnes.
So for Detroit now, 2 goals in 33 seconds. Brian Barnes getting the last 4 goals in the last 2:42. How do you explain it?
Just, you know, I think that they got taken out of their transition game by having to go to the man-down situation. They played 4-on-4, but they never had the ball on the offensive end. And the Turbos just set up some good pick and rolls, had good shots, scored on Bilger. Once you get 1 or 2 going in, you start wondering about your confidence, and all of a sudden things are going the wrong way.
And Detroit again with possession. Play out in front is broken up by the Wings' Paul French, and now John Conley. He's wrapped up from behind, and that could be a penalty coming up against Riva, the guy who scored the goal moments ago.
Well, there's no surprise to me that Detroit Turbos are the most penalized team in this league. There's absolutely no surprise. Well, they can almost have a penalty every time. Here, this is called a wraparound hold, ride your back. You could get them for about 4 different charges there. So now it's real important to get the momentum back, to get this crowd coming alive again, to get the house on your side. And no one can do it better than John Tucker. So let's get it done here, Wings.
As mentioned, the Turbos, the most penalized team in the league. The Wings are 2 for 3 on the man advantage tonight. Kotz and Delegati on that far side. Tucker at the point. He had it right there. Wilson, they play for Kotz. Shot wide near side, but they say it was touched by Sawicki, so a fresh 45.
Yeah, nice save again by Sawicki. He's just getting a little bit of his body on every Kotz shot. Kotz is on the cage all the time, but Sawicki's making the saves.
Tucker, look, good feed for Delegati. He's buried by 2 players, but French has the loose ball. And we have possession out going to Detroit on the Wings foul.
Yeah, Delegati's pushed into the crease, and you see Lou just using his strength, and then 2 guys get him. After the shot, he falls in the crease, so they lose the ball. Kotz, nice defense.
And he's got Tucker ahead if he can find him. A 2-on-1 with Tucker. Now McGrath trailing the play. Kotz in, shot, score!
A great fake by Brad Kotz that made Sawicki come to the left pipe. And then he hits Kotz wide open, jams it home, and the Wings need that one. Look at this. This is a great fake here by the shot. Sawicki comes across, and there it is, wide open. And even a wall doesn't stop that one. We see it from the backside. Watch Sawicki move on the fake, and then it's all open. He's off the pipe. There's no way he can get back. Great job by Brad Kotz and John Tucker.
So above all, the goal by Tucker, his second of the night, breaks up 4 straight for Detroit and makes it a 1-goal game again at 7-6 with 3 minutes and 39 seconds to go here in the second quarter.
Here's where Durzel's so important, to get this face-off now and come right back in their faces. And what do? They win one of the first ones tonight, the Wings.
Hamlin in front, shot, and that one was wide. A good setup there by Martinello for Gar Reno. Now loose in front. And Hamlin has it for Detroit, but he's buried. But a good play by Durgel, the face-off man who's all over the place. That's Durgel hitting it ahead for French. And here comes Philadelphia, 3-on-2. Out ahead it goes for McGeady. McGeady back for French, in front, shot saved by Sawicki, but French has the rebound and a fresh 45 for the Wings. Wings looking to tie it here. They're down one with 3 minutes to go, second quarter. McGeady, Delegati, number 1 in the league in assists, big number 77, 230 pounds. Now French will work this from behind. Conley, who's got 2 already, shot, and a save by Sawicki as Conley went straight for the 5-hole looking for the hat trick.
It's just amazing. I'm sitting here with my mouth wide open, Mark, watching the beating that the Wings are taking when they're inside the offensive area without the ball. I mean, talk about slashes and slaps and hatchets. It's unbelievable.
This ball is very important. DeSico has it for the Wings. And Detroit getting back now defensively very nicely, so the Wings here will be forced into the setup offense.
McGeady really got away with a cross-check then to Matt Cacciato's head. Boy, he really gave him a cross-check, got the ball back. No call by the ref. We'll take one once in a while.
Tucker, Rick Freed, the rookie, for 13.
You can just see right in the middle of that crease, you can see the beating that 22 is just giving anybody who comes anywhere near that place. Rob Avellino just hacking away.
Mean check by Freed as he took it away from Barroza. Now Tucker. Good job by Detroit to get back defensively. They run the play in front for Martin. Ball is loose. Gabrielson takes a swipe at it, and a crease violation is called against the Wings. Possession for Detroit with 1:20 to go here in a wild second quarter.
I think the Wings are picking it up a little bit. That's the kind of tempo they want. Much better than what the last 6-7 minutes have been. Nice check.
Rive is buried there, but scrambling back very nicely is Gord Neely, one of the spare players here. Each team carrying 3 complete lines of 5 men each and 2 spare players. Bilger's pass is too far. Sawicki way out. The fans just want to see Sawicki buried with 44 seconds to go in the quarter. Shot clock is turned off, so figuratively Detroit can hold for one last shot.
Yeah, I got to believe they like where they are right now. Unless they get a layup, they're probably going to hold and take the best possible shot.
That's the amount of time left in this first half. They run a play in front. Lee, shot, score! Pat Lee, who came around a screen, turned and fired it by Bilger, and the Turbos back up by 2.
Great backhander here. You see him use his size. He fakes and comes backhanded. He never goes over to his left hand. I mean, that's a true box move. Watch here. Sweeps it by Bilger's head and then comes in backhanded on the right side of Bilger. And gets the goal. Nice move by Patrick Lee.
And for Lee, his second goal of the year.
Patrick Lee's a Canadian-born, played on the Canadian champions team as a junior, and has never played the field game. So you can see he's a box man from birth up.
So the Wings, who won the first quarter, now probably will lose the first half as they trail it by 2.
Took too long. The Turbos took too long on the face-off. And therefore, the possession was given to the Wings, and now Coach Evans is calling timeout.
The Wings take a timeout.
Once again, you got to kind of wonder a little bit, Mark, if that, I can understand why Coach Evans wants a timeout, gets set up for this last 17 seconds of possibly an offensive play. At the same time, they give the ball to Durgel at the face-off circle and say, go ahead. They took too long and you catch Detroit by surprise, but instead of using that surprise value, the coach calls timeout.
We've had a lot of hitting, particularly in the second quarter. Has this been Detroit's game here in the second quarter with all the hitting?
Yeah, I think it's been continuous throughout the whole game. I mean, we've commented a lot tonight on just how much they beat up people in that offensive box in a settled situation. The Wings have never been one to turn down physical side of the game with Tucker and Delgatti and Hahn and DeSico, Resch. So they're going to come back and throw their bodies around. They need, no matter what happens with the hitting, they need to pick up the tempo. Here we go, the last 17 seconds now. Let's see what Coach Evans is drawing up here on the playboard.
The Wings with their number one line, but only 10 seconds in which to cash in.
Spreading it out.
French for their big gun Kotz. Wilson from distance, and that's well wide. And Detroit now with possession, and the buzzer goes, and that'll do it. So the Wings win that first quarter 3-2, but Detroit wins the second quarter 6-3. They lead it 8-6, thanks in part to Ted Sawicki, their goaltender. Stay with us. We'll have third quarter action from the Spectrum in a moment. Along with Tony Seaman, I'm Mark Zumoff. We are set to begin the third quarter with Detroit leading by 2, but they were late coming back from their locker room session, and they're going to be assessed a 2-minute delay of game penalty. But they scored 4 straight, Tony Seaman, in that fourth quarter, the third of the 4 coming from Chris Rive that put them ahead 6-5.
Yeah, I think, you're right. And then Kotz came down right after that goal. A couple great fakes, and it hits Tucker on the far side. Tucker just puts it home in the empty cage. There's no way Sawicki can get back to save it. I think a little bit what we were talking about at halftime, Mark. First of all, we look at the scoring summary.
And as you can see, Detroit winning that second quarter, and they lead it here 8-6. Detroit also shot 50% in that second quarter. Keep in mind the league-leading team shoots about 30% for the game, so 50% is excellent shooting, and the Turbos really had it going, but they will be assessed now a 2-minute penalty for delay of game. And it's going to be served by number 16, Gord Neely. So a power play coming up for the Wings. They are already 3 for 4 on the man up on the night.
Yeah, I think they needed to get it going now. They want to get the momentum, get the crowd, get everybody going. It's real important to score here. Real important to get the momentum, the tempo up, and get back in this game. And then Bilger's got to make some couple big saves right in the beginning to get his confidence back where it was in the beginning of the second period, which he lost in the third. Here we go, man up.
Paul French, straight away for Brad Kotz, who's been shut out thus far, and a score! And that's Andy Wilson with the goal.
A real nice play by the Wings. They used some movement, some player movement, and then they hit Wilson in the middle, and he took a nice overhand shot, got a big bounce, and for the first time tonight, I saw Sawicki actually go to his knees. And that's something that he hasn't done tonight. First time, and the big bounce goes past him. So that might be a real important thing, and that's getting the crowd going. Big Lou says, let's go, folks.
Second power play goal of the night for Wilson. His 9th of the year, the number 1 draft choice. He has played the box game all his life, a bit slow, but he's got 10 goals to show thus far in the Wings' 4 games. So who needs speed when he can shoot like Andy Wilson? And Bill Durgel wins another face-off. He has been excellent once again in this game, and the Wings with an opportunity here to tie. Opening minute, third quarter. And their top line is out there now. This is Gary Martin. They run it for Chris Dent. Shot, and that was just wide, far side. Rebound taken by Kevin Hamlin. Here comes Detroit. Teams even, of course, with the Wings scoring on the power play. Neely came out from serving that bench penalty for coming back from halftime. Too late.
Now, just as important as that goal was on the offensive end, it's going to be just as important for Kevin Bilger to come up with a save on the first shot to get his head back in the game and get his confidence back where it was.
Rodriguez. Armando Rodriguez for Detroit, taking a beating from 2 Wings players. Nice little pick and roll in front, shot, and a save is made by Bilger. Quickly on transition, it goes to Kotz, but Detroit back defensively. Let's see what Brad can do. Cuts in one-on-one and decides not to go for Sawicki. Now the trailer is Dent. Fakes, and he loses it, and the Turbos will take possession. Seems like the Wings just were not patient right there as Dent went right on in and did not get a good shot.
Yeah, he tried to make a move, slipped a little bit, lost his footing, and went down. Now, you notice Detroit is just doing a lot of the picking for the ball, knocking the guy down who was playing him.
And as Wilson begins to break back, a foul is called against Detroit. You wonder why they whistle those fouls when the Wings already have possession.
Yeah, he lost his helmet, and I think it was a safety procedure, and you got to question that a little bit by the ref. Maybe a common sense call is get rid of the ball and then get Wilson out of there to get his helmet back on. But it slows down the transition. That hurts them.
The Wings want to get that transition game going. Detroit likes to slow it up, play the physical style, and thus far they were successful, particularly in that second quarter, which was wild. French with a shot. That's short-circuited by the Detroit defense. Conley looking for the hat trick. To French behind. Let's see if he's got a cutter. Keeley tries to wrap him up. DeSico comes over to try to pick off Keeley. Does the job, and French falls. Foul is...
It's going to be against the Turbos in the head.
Penalty is coming up. It's going to be a 2-minute penalty coming up against Detroit.
They haven't come up with the ball yet, so now they can get the goalie out of there.
Extra attacker now, 6-on-5. A delayed penalty against Detroit. Wings trailing 8-7, 3 minutes gone, third quarter. Tucker for Hahn, winds, fires, saves Sawicki as they went low, and now the delayed penalty is coming up against Detroit. So the Turbos, the most penalized team in the league, pick up 2 here in the first 3 minutes, and they are protecting a 1-goal lead.
It's going to be important now for my... notice Sawicki once again on that shot, even though it was a low shot, was down on his knees, going to that knee a little bit more than he did in the first half. So somebody might want to go down low with their stick and then shoot high from that low position. That's a tough shot to make, but everybody here on the Wings is capable of pulling that off, especially somebody like Andy Wilson.
2 minutes for holding and 2 minutes for high sticking. Gord Neely in the box to serve it. That's the second double minor we've had tonight. Another was assessed earlier, cross-checking and slashing to the Wings' Mark DeSico, and it hurt the Wings badly as Detroit had scored 4 straight. The Wings 4 for 5 with the man up, and they have 4 straight minutes here.
See the box by Detroit, 2-2.
Wilson penetrates. Now Tucker. Shot wide near side. But Sawicki made the save. A fresh 45 if the Wings can control. Coming over, Pat Lee for Detroit. He's buried. Man is open out in front. And wait a second. We have a foul being called against Philadelphia. And Lou Delegati is hot. He is screaming at referee Mike Bierman.
I don't blame him. I don't blame him. For all the beatings that they're taking and the hatchets that they've taken in the middle of the field without the ball tonight, he has a good run. I mean, the man's face is out of sight. He turned. Louis did not come at him from the back. The guy saw him coming and turned his back, and he was already a momentum. That's not a good call.
It's going to be a 2-minute elbow on Delegati. So they'll play 4-on-4 for the next 2 minutes, and then the Wings will have a power play for 1:32. And you say the 4-on-4 is an advantage for the Wings because they're the faster team.
I think so, but they got to get the ball.
Gabrielson is wrapped from behind, but here comes Freed with Manley. 2-on-4, Detroit obviously with the numbers here, and Freed, the rookie, wisely slows it up.
Here's the guy. There's no way they can stay with Tucker, 1-on-1.
Tucker, the drive, and he scores!
He got the best stutter step move in the world, and there you saw it. And a good shot. Tucker's right on tonight, and so important they keep putting the shots on the cage. Here you go. You see him take the stutter step. Comes off to his strong side. Good bounce to get Sawicki down on that right knee again.
The hat trick for John Tucker. He has 9 goals on the year. He has 21 points now on the season. Here is a fellow, Tony Seaman, who had 16 points all of last year. He already has 20 after half the season. We're at the midway point tonight.
And how do you say that? How do you do that? You do that by strengthening your team with depth. Bringing in a Brad Cox, bringing in a Mark Hahn, bringing the Louis Delgatti, the other players that contribute. And so that the defense can't key on one person like they could key on Tucker last year. Or this year they can't key on him.
Tucker, the Wings captain, and as play goes, we have 2 Detroit players down. A possession foul against the Wings, but not before they tend to one of their injured, and it looks like one of the Martinellos.
It is. It's Ron Martinello, and that's a very, very important man. 2-time All-American from the University of Maryland. A great box player, a great field player. And we're going to see it off the face-off here. You see the push, and then you see, I think he got pushed by his own man and ran over top. And the knee caught on the, or the foot caught on the turf.
10:59 to go, third quarter. The Wings with 2 unanswered goals, and we're tied. Ron Martinello, the second leading scorer in the league to the Wings' Brad Cox. 2 goals and 3 assists just helped off by 2 men, not under his own power, as right here, tragically for Detroit, Kevin Hamlin falls on him, and we're back to live action. Detroit with possession, but a loose ball, and Freed has it. Quickly up ahead it goes for Tucker, who's got the hat trick already tonight. Waits for some teammates, and now the Wings will set up.
Nice job by Tucker. He saw that he really couldn't get the ball through, although it was a 3-on-2, and held it up, said, okay, we'll go against you like this. Once again, watch him. He's got the quickest moves in the world. There he goes.
Excellent one-on-one. Penetrates and leaves it for a man and a shot. And a nice save there by Sawicki. Good penetration by Tucker as he left it for Gabrielson. One thing about Tucker, he plays with 3 left-handers. That gives him a little bit more room, I think, to go one-on-one. At a steal, and here comes Gabrielson. A breakaway on Sawicki. A shot. And a save as Sawicki just stood still and made the save. We talked during the break earlier about the fact that Sawicki is so good at protecting the 5-hole, and he just stood still, and that's all he had to do.
He does. He doesn't move until he sees a ball come out of the stick. And in box, it's the whole key, because you're only protected 4x4, not 6x6 like in the field. If you stand and wait and hold and keep that stick in the 5-hole, there they are with that pick and roll again.
And Lee, the trailer, in, shot, and the save is made, and here comes Philadelphia. Tucker in transition. Remember, we're playing 4-on-4 for the next few seconds, and now the Wings have a man up. Out in front, Manley, fake shot, and a save is made by Sawicki. The ball goes up into the net, and it'll belong to Detroit, but an excellent opportunity once again, and Sawicki came up very big.
Scott Boyle called a push at the end of that play, Mark, so they're going to give it back to the Wings. So the Wings are going to keep possession. It's a real key call there that gives them the ball, and they're putting out that good line of Kotz and French and Wilson.
Interesting note, the Turbos have given up an average of 8 goals a game this season. We have just started the 3rd quarter already. They have given up 8 to the Wings, who have outshot Detroit 37-24. And right now they're on the man up, the power play, with 1:15 on that advantage. 9:11 to go, 3rd quarter. The Wings in Detroit tied at 8. French shot, saves Sawicki. Rebound is taken by Detroit's Kevin Hamlin, but he loses it. Play out in front. Tucker winds, fires, saving in Sawicki. And there he takes that oversized goaltender's stick and just sits on the ball and gains possession for his team. 6th power play of the game for the Wings, and they've been very successful. Martinello pass in front, shot, and they tried to go low there on Bilger, who had the ball go over the crossbar and into the net, and it's going to be Wings possession with 38 seconds on the power play.
That's a great save by Bilger, a great save. Once again, Sawicki threw to the bench to the incoming sub and caught the Wings in a bad substitution, and they got a 2-on-1.
Kotz with a shot, and there's Hamlin for Detroit. And now Detroit can eat up the rest of this power play. It has 19 seconds to go. And here's Sawicki, the goaltender. He better hope there's no turnover. Gets it to Hamlin. Now for Lee, cutting off of a screen. He's got Barroza in front. Hits Barroza. And Barroza's brought down from behind by Tucker. Nothing called. Here comes Wilson. In on a breakaway. Goes in. Shoots. Wide to the far side. Wow. First Sawicki comes all the way out into the wing zone. Then scrambles back just in time to catch Wilson coming in on a breakaway. 0 for 7 the Wings are tonight on breakaways in on Sawicki.
Shows you how impressive and how intimidating and what a great job he's done.
Quickly it goes for Kotz. We got a 2-on-1 with Tucker, but coming off of the bench is Maturo to make it a 2-on-2 for Detroit. Kotz cuts in, goes, scores!
Tell you what, Mark, a week ago Sunday afternoon, Brad Kotz was shut out. He came in and scored a high shot over the elbow to get him out of the drought. Tonight, he's shut down. He comes down on a breakaway, makes a great dip dodge, goes by, and puts it home over the right elbow of Sawicki. You can only stop Brad Kotz so many times and for so long.
Kotz, who is the league leader in points, had been shut out until that goal. Now has 13 on the season. Also a couple of assists tonight. Perhaps the best in the league. 5'11", 180 pounds. Played his lacrosse at Syracuse. Now he's playing professionally with the Wings, and of course an assistant to Tony Seaman at the University of Pennsylvania, along with being a student at the Wharton Business School. That was a power play goal, and now the teams are at full strength. Not a power play goal. The penalty had just expired to Detroit, so we were at even strength. In the meantime, it's going to be Detroit possession here.
I think they might face it off. And if they face it off, it's a very smart play by the Wings. Down there, couldn't really get the ball out. 3 or 4 guys all over you. So Tony Resch just lays on the ball and holds it, and it's going to be a face-off. And with Durgill facing off, it gives you a big-time advantage.
The Wings, by the way, with their first lead since it was 5-4 back in that second quarter.
It's been an outstanding third quarter so far for the Wings. Outstanding. Now they need to keep this tempo going and keep the momentum up. And there's only so many times you give breakaways to teams. Eventually they got to break down that wall of Sawicki, and that time Kotz. Now let's see who's next.
The Wings, who were victimized by Detroit, who scored 4 straight in the second, have scored now 3 straight themselves. And a foul against Philadelphia, it'll be Detroit possession.
So they lost on me on what that foul was.
Quickly, Paul Maturo for Detroit as they now set up in the Philadelphia zone. 6:20 to go, third quarter. Wings up by 1 at 9-8. The expansion Turbos coming in unbeaten at 3-0. Lee with a shot, and that one went wide to the far side, but Woods with a deep rebound. They say that was a shot on goal, so a fresh 45 for Detroit. Pretty little play there as they try to feed it through to Tom Aldridge. Broken up by the Wings. Here's Kotz on a breakaway. He was stoned once before. Goes in, shoots, save again by Sawicki. So it's 0 for 8. The Wings are on breakaways against Ted Sawicki, the top goaltender in the league. And now Mark DeSico, who has already been penalized twice tonight, is complaining vehemently to referee Mike Bierman.
And you know why? Because the other person fouled him. I guess it was number 7. James Wood fouled him, and DeSico did not answer him back. He just stood there, and he took another blow to the shoulder and stood there. Here's the save by Sawicki. Watch, Bill Jordan, great outlet to Kotz. Kotz uses, first of all, what a handle. Grace makes a great over-the-shoulder grab. Comes down, and he goes the same spot that he just beat him. Now, if he'd only put that low or off the hip instead of up off the elbow. But that's something Brad will put back in the old frame of reference and come back with him later on.
So we have offsetting penalties against Woods and DeSico. For DeSico, by the way, that's 3 penalties for 6 minutes on the night. And he and Woods go off, so we will play 4-on-4 now for the next 2 minutes. 5:42 to go in the third. The Wings are up by 1 at 9-8, but Detroit with possession. Alvino gets by McGeady, gets a nice screen. Has Barroza in front. This is Barroza now. And we have a call. It's a foul against Detroit. The Wings will take possession. And now I guess they're saying that the Wings I guess they started off too soon there. We have a warning now being issued by Scott Boyle as he comes over to talk with the Detroit coach, Mito Martinello. What do you think he was saying?
When he called the penalty then on Barroza for holding, Barroza had the ball in his stick and he held it. And you're supposed to release it immediately to the other team. He held it, and then he threw it to the wall instead of to the referee. They told him next time you get a 2-minute on sportsmanship.
Martinello said when they first heard they were going to have an expansion team in Detroit, they put an ad in the paper, and they had 74 guys show up for tryouts. The bulk of their team came from those tryouts. And then, of course, Martinello, being the veteran box lacrosse person that he is, was able to handpick a few others, and he's assembled a pretty good team.
He sure has. And he also said that one of the first phone calls he got was from Ted Sawicki. I'd like to play. I live 3.5 hours from Detroit. I'd like to play. I'll make the practices. He's made every one 2 times a week until the season began, and then once a week now, and here he is. And boy, you knew when he called and said, I want to play, what Coach Mito Martinello said to that, you're going to play.
That's Scott Boyle, the head referee, who's trying to sort things out, along with Tony Seaman, the head coach at the University of Pennsylvania. I'm Mark Sumoff. 9-8, the Wings leading Detroit, 5:32 to go. The Wings are up 3-2 after 1, trailing 8-6 at halftime. They have scored 3 straight here in the third quarter.
Well, once again, one of the small problems, I guess, that this happens over a maturing and growing league when you have different kinds of situations and penalty situations that you didn't think were going to arise, and then they do. You make sure it's straight, so you got it right.
And now for everyone's entertainment, they say play on. Remember, we're in a 4-on-4 situation after coincidental minors to the Wings in Detroit. Paul French, behind it goes for Delegati. Up top for Conley, scores!
Pass up top by Delgatti. Conley with that hard shot, and he beats him high right. When they beat him high, they beat him to the off-stick side, the right-hand side, and it's been high in the corner. And it's funny, they've stopped, Sawicki stopped 8 breakaways from 2 yards to 3 yards, but he's let 4 from 20 go by him. So what do you tell? Maybe on the breakaways you fire it early.
So Conley, with that excellent outside shot, connects with the hat trick. So he and Tucker with hat tricks. So 5 goals now on the season for the diminutive John Conley. And the Wings up by 2 at 10-8.
It's unbelievable how Durgel tells those guys behind him where he wants them. He just pointed. I'm going over there against the sharp sign, and that's where he put the ball.
This matches the Wings' largest lead. They were up 5-3 at one point. This is the first time Detroit has given up as many as 10 goals on the year. Their previous high was 9. Big Lou Delegati with that left knee heavily bandaged after an off-season knee operation. He's taken to the turf, and a penalty is going to be assessed now to Detroit's Gar Renault. And another man advantage coming up for the Wings.
You just can't handle Lou. I mean, he's 225 pounds coming around, leaning in on you. What else can you do but take him down, or he's by you? And it draws the penalty. That's what the Wings want. They've been very successful in their man up. Here they go again. You know, from watching the shooting from outside with Tucker in the middle on this man up, it might be a good move by Coach Dave Evans to think about putting Andy Wilson with that sidearm slingshot shot of his, much like Conley's, out there, and let him play the middle and move Tucker over to the right-hand shooting spot. But I see him coming out with Tucker in the middle. They might rotate in that.
4-on-3 right now for the Wings. They are 4 for 6 on the power play tonight. This is Tucker straight away with Kotz, who just scored moments ago. Kotz fires it, and that one was deflected by the Detroit defense. Was on goal, so a fresh 45.
Yeah, I don't think he makes the save on that one. That was that left-hand top corner going for there. Now he's got Kotz back here. Louis does. There it is.
Delegati tried to go to him. It got by him. But the Wings here will retain possession. And an over and back is called against Philadelphia, and Detroit now will take possession. 4:04 to go in the third. The Wings up 2 at 10-8, but here comes Detroit. Remember, they're down 4 men to 3. As Chris there takes a beating from Steve McGrath, who takes it away. And Chris almost steals it, but there is Bilger to come up with it for Philadelphia. And now it becomes a 5-on-4 as those coincidental minors expire. A 5-on-4 now advantage for the next 50 seconds for Philadelphia. Kotz for Delegati. Thought about it. Now Kotz has it again. The cutter, Tucker, the fire, and Sawicki there to make the save.
Well, he does have the ability to save some unbelievable shots. Here they come off that wing again. They're going to catch him.
Play for Woods, and a save is made as they went stick side that time on Bilger. Fresh 45, but Philadelphia takes it away with 20 seconds here to go in the man up.
Kotz has been out on the field for about now a full 3 minutes. So he's got to be tired.
Plays it for French. Now they set up. 5-on-4. Tucker for Kotz. Delegati. The cutter Wilson fires it wide. And the penalty expires. Teams at full strength. Delegati in, shot, save. Sawicki along the near side. And the rebound is taken by Detroit. The Turbos now with possession, trailing by 2 with 2:37 to play. Here's Rive, one-on-one with Wilson. Now a trailer joining them in, shot, score!
And that's what they do so well. That's where Detroit's transition comes from. Sawicki hits this bench on the substitution, and they had a very, very tired man-up team, extra power. And then he fires across to the trailer coming down, and he just makes a real nice, and there, once again, we don't see Bilger holding his ground. We see Bilger moving and guessing where the shot's going to go, and he beats him on the shot. James Wood with his second goal of the night.
And so the Wings string of 4 straight is broken by the Turbos. As Kevin Bilger gives up his first goal of this third quarter. And Detroit now gets to within 1 at 10-9.
Time is 1 minute 31 seconds.
Wings now attacking in the Detroit zone. Chris Freed plays it along the near side for Mark Hahn, has it broken up, and here comes Detroit now with visions of tying this game. Rive plays it in for Lee, and here comes Manley back for Philadelphia, and Manley decides to slow it up.
Yeah, it surprises me sometimes. You got to look cross field. That's a hard thing for a lot of players to do in the box or the field game. Is you got to look cross side or cross field. Often you'll find people going up the other side wide open, and that time they were there, but they elected to hold it up.
The play by Freed to knock it loose from the Turbos. Play in front, shot by Gabrielson, and there was Sawicki to make another save. 45 shots to 27, the Wings, with that many more shots than Detroit here in this game. 45 to 27.
It's amazing. I would just like to look at a film cutout of Sawicki all night long and try to guess the number of times that he moves. He just doesn't commit himself. He gives you his whole body, and if you hit it, it's unbelievable. And then at the other end to watch Bilger guess and try to anticipate.
That one fired wide that time with Bilger. And there's Sawicki. Is he the best you've seen?
Oh, absolutely. Especially this year so far. But we haven't seen Pfeiffer and Quinn from New York, and they're both outstanding, but they were both outstanding field goalies, too.
Vinny Pfeiffer, of course, formerly with the Wings. And we have a foul here called against Detroit, I believe. Yes, it'll be Philadelphia possession.
45-second clock, I think.
Okay. Thank you. Again, you have to shoot on goal within 45 seconds. A wide shot does not count as a shot on goal. And we have a timeout being called by Philadelphia with 34 seconds to go. And the Wings leading, and should they win tonight, they will cause all kinds of problems in the standings. New York already winning last night. And remember, only the first 2 teams in the major indoor lacrosse league make the playoffs. A couple of years ago, it was the first 4. Last year, it was the first 3. The Wings getting that final slot, eventually losing to New Jersey, now the New York Saints. And as you can see, the expansion Turbos right now in first place.
Right, Detroit's 3 wins. 2 are against New England, who are in last place, and the other is in the 5th place team, Baltimore. So that's the 3 teams, or excuse me, Washington. That's the 3 teams that Detroit has beat up until tonight. So they still got the meat of the schedule to go through. They've got the Wings here tonight, of course. We're in the final 34 seconds of the third quarter in this one. And then they have New York and Baltimore left. And there's certainly 3 very, very good teams. So Detroit's got a real uphill fight to keep that first place division, and in fact can lose it tonight if the Wings can come up with a victory.
And Kevin Bilger will watch the Wings out of this timeout. Each team has a goal after timeouts tonight, so the coaches have made very good use of the 1 timeout they get each quarter. 20 seconds to go in this quarter. The Wings up by 1, 10-9. They trailed at halftime, 8-6. Wilson, high screen from French, doesn't use it. Good play in front, Tucker! And the net moves as Sawicki was back on his heels. And a crease violation is called. Possession to Detroit with 3 seconds to go. I thought maybe they were going to call Sawicki for moving the net.
I think that moved after he shot.
That's the amount of time remaining in this quarter. Take a bit of a miracle here for Detroit to get anything. And Sawicki with the heave, and the easy catch is made by Kevin Bilger, who relinquished only 1 goal in that third quarter, which comes to a close before another big house here at the Spectrum, with the Wings leading by 1. Stay with us. The final 15 coming up in just a moment. Along with Tony Seaman, I'm Mark Zumoff. Wings 10, Detroit 9, getting set for the beginning of the fourth quarter of play. And Tony, the difference really, I think, is the power play tonight. Detroit coming in, noted as the most penalized team in the league, and indeed the Wings have come back to cash in 4 for 7 on the power play against Ted Sawicki, the Turbo goaltender. Detroit only 1 for 1 on the power play.
Right, and of course the lack of penalties by the Wings, laying off, doing a good job in that area, only allowing Detroit 1 power play, so that helps out a great deal.
Detroit 22 penalty minutes on the night, 10 for Philadelphia. The Wings also with a penalty shot. Brad Kotz, who was stoned by Sawicki.
Durgell is now 9-1 in the second half when facing off, so that's another big key. You keep getting the ball back. It sure helps.
Gary Martin, nice feed through there for the rookie Chris Dent, broken up by Sawicki. Here comes Detroit. 30 seconds into the fourth quarter, the Wings 10, the Turbos 9. Play for Chris, coming off of a screen, and the trailing official, Rich Tamburino, has a call, and it's going to be a slash coming up against Gar Renault of Detroit. And another power play coming up for the Wings, their 8th on the night.
I mean, certainly Coach Martinello has decided that they're going to play this game physically. They're going to take their chances. That they want to not give you the easy one-on-one shot as much as possible, but they want to beat you up as they play. And if you have that kind of philosophy, you're going to get penalties if the refs are willing to call it. Now, I give the refs credit for that. They have called it, and the Wings have been very, very successful on their power play.
And Detroit back in their box zone defense. Wilson in front. Tries to get it back for French, and French hustles down the loose ball.
Again, he might have done too much that time. He should have uncorked it there.
Wilson for Kotz, the shot. Oh, and it just trickled wide as Sawicki made the save, and the rebound, oh, so close to going in. Now Sawicki in transition for Chris against Tucker, who pushes him nicely aside, and here comes Wilson.
Tucker does so many things well. He plays offense. He sees he gives you great assists. He's a great passer, great shooter, great dip dodger and stutter stepper, but he also can play defense. He takes the ball away from so many people.
I guess that's why he's the captain. Wilson with a shot, and Sawicki just stood tall and made the save. Almost statuesque is Ted Sawicki, choosing not to move and letting you beating him. Now Tucker sets up Kotz, and he scores!
Kotz kind of gives a shrug like, God, it's about time. Here he is, just once again, I mean, you're only going to stop that kid so many times. This time, instead of going to the right side, he puts it off the left shin or the left knee. There you see the left hip of Sawicki and beats him there. So many times tonight he shot off to the other side, finally comes back to the near side, puts it home.
Brad Kotz, I am told, uses a stick that in carrying space is a bit smaller than the normal stick. Now that makes it a little bit tougher to handle, but I guess it helps in what? Velocity? Accuracy?
Accuracy.
Accuracy.
And velocity too a little bit. We got a unique situation down here. The referee never started the face-off, and Durgell just let him run around, and then somebody dumped him. But yeah, that's a good point, Mark. Most of the players you see who play the game today have a pretty decent-sized pocket in their stick. You get about 3/4 of the ball deep inside the pocket. Brad plays where only about 1/4 of the ball deep, and it's very, very hard to keep your ball in the stick when you get checked. But the location and the velocity you get out of a pocket like that, it goes where you want it every time, and that's what makes him such a great shooter.
5 of the Wings' 11 goals tonight have come on the power play. Conley sets up French, who has it now. 12:55 to go in the fourth quarter. A 2-goal advantage for the Wings, matching their largest of the night, 11-9. Conley dodges, shot, and that's wide to the near side. But they say that Sawicki had a stick on it, so a fresh 45. And now Detroit with possession, and here they come. Tom Aldridge, the Chicago stock options trader who planes it to practice. He's number 17 with it now. The shot, and an easy save by Bilger. In transition, Delegati, and there French went off, but Delegati with Tucker in, shot, and a save by Sawicki, who took it in the breadbasket.
That was a great look by Louis to see Tuck come into the side. Once again, he got him down on his knees, but he hit him right in the face mask with the shot.
Pat Lee for Detroit taking a banging from Mark DeSico, who's had to pay for some overzealous play tonight with 6 minutes worth of penalties. Barnes, nice setup there for Rodriguez, broken up by Bilger. And now Tucker, the steady captain of the Wings, up ahead for McGeady. 2-on-4 for the Wings, and they'll set up. Now, if you're the Wings with a 2-goal lead in time just beginning to be a factor a little bit, do you take your time offensively and chew up some of the clock, or are you afraid of getting out of the offensive flow?
I think you certainly don't want to. I mean, you want to, every time you get a fast break in transition for the Wings, I think they got to make use of that and go for it, because they certainly have seen that in the settled, they get beat up, they get tired. Even though they can control the ball somewhat, you've only got a 2-goal lead, so I think they want to make use of it if they can.
Well, they're going deep here. 3 seconds to go on the shot clock. A shot right there, and a save is made. Loose ball. Who's got it? 1 Wing player and 3 Detroit players, and a foul is called on Detroit. Philadelphia will get now at least another 45. Time not yet a factor. I'm sorry, Tony. 11 minutes to go. You were saying?
Mark Hahn, real tough in the corners, coming up with that ball. Here's Fried with the great moves.
Another shot, and they keep going low, and Sawicki, and he is there with that big goalie stick. Now Detroit in transition. Here they come. In front of shot, and Bilger there, steady and makes the save. And here we go, Tucker in on a breakaway. Wide far side. That could have given Philadelphia their first 3-goal lead of the night. They are now 0 for 9 on breakaways tonight. What do you make of that?
Well, Sawicki's just stand tough, and in close, he just gives you nothing. He plays his percentages so well, and that time Tucker just missed the cage, which they haven't done a lot tonight.
13,982 in the building tonight as the Wings continue to pace the league in attendance. Here's Chris cutting off of a screen. Loose ball with he and Fried. And Sawicki will take care of that. 5 minutes gone, meaning 10 minutes remaining fourth quarter. Wings 11, Detroit 9. The expansion turbo coming in unbeaten. The Wings try to take care of that and force a 3-way tie for first place, or at least a 2-way tie between the Wings and New York. Here's Martinello, a shot, and that one was wide. Rebound, Martinello again, and Bilger made himself big. And now we have a break, but no, wait a second. We have a call being made, a hold, and possession will go to Detroit. The call against the Wings, Scott Gabrielson. It'll just be a possession foul, and it'll go to Detroit.
Yeah, too bad, because Bilger had a great breakaway out front, and of course it got whistled dead because Scott stayed on top of his man. So we go back now to 6-on-6 or 5-on-5, excuse me.
That's the math right now, and you could see a lot of time still for Detroit. Perhaps talking prematurely about any kind of stall game by the Wings. Hanlon with a screen. Good defense by the Wings. Now Chris. Still a lot of time on the shot clock. Dodges in. Shot. Save. Bilger. And there's a nice play by Gabrielson to scoop it back to Bilger. Now a 2-on-1 with Fried and Hahn. It's Hahn. And it was fired wide to the near side. Perhaps Sawicki had a piece of it. But a fresh 45 for the Wings as they gain possession in Steve McGrath.
That was a real nice play by Fried then. Instead of staying wide for a 2-on-1, he went over and just took Hahn's man out of the play, realizing that Hahn's such a good shooter in close there. Took him out of the play and let Hahn just go by himself.
Hatsu's already got 2 for Wilson. Now we have a whistle. And a warning, I believe, against Coach Dave Evans, as referee Mike Bierman is taking an earful, and perhaps he's had enough, and it looks like a 2-minute penalty is going to be assessed against Philadelphia. What do you suppose Evans's complaint was, first of all?
I don't know if he got him for an illegal substitution or if he got him for his mouth. It'll be very interesting to hear the call here. It's so hard to tell from up here, Mark.
Of course, you wonder why, with a 2-goal lead, why the coach would want to take a chance at getting a bench penalty and give Detroit a man advantage like that.
Penalty will be served by Scott Gabrielson.
It is. You're absolutely right. It's a 2-minute penalty against the bench. So Coach Evans draws one of his first of the year.
Detroit 1 for 1 on the man advantage, and you'll note in the man down situation, the Wings, unlike Detroit, their 4 men go in the shape of a diamond. Martinello feeds it across, play broken up nicely by DeSico, but Detroit still with possession. Woods, play in front, good break up by DeSico, who's an excellent defensive player for the Wings. There he draws the attention of 2 Detroit players. And Scott Boyle in, and what do we have now?
Face off. And you see everybody on the Wings looking over at Evans going, face off, get Sturgill in here. And here he comes. And I think the Wings are going to want a timeout here, Mark, as the play. No, they didn't get it. So here comes Sturgill into face-off now.
Sturgill has been spectacular tonight in face-offs. And as mentioned, possession so important in the box game. And nice play there to get it back to Resch. Ahead for Freed, but he's got company.
Now, if that wasn't a push from behind, what was it?
That was Terry Martinello delivering the blow to Freed. Wow. A lot going on there as Freed and Martinello have their own little separate tete-a-tete. In the meantime, Detroit comes back. Remember, they still have the man advantage here. Shot saved by Bilger, who has been real steady here in the second half. He's only given up 1 goal.
Yeah, that's a great call. He sure has been.
Now Tucker. Pass in front to Seco, and he could not handle it. And Sawicki's way out. Here's Resch to get it. Can they get it in before Sawicki gets back? Shot by Dirgil, and that one goes wide. Deep rebound for Kotz, and a fresh 45 for the Wings. Remember, the Wings are shorthanded. And now they're going to try to chew up what remains of this penalty to Scott Gabrielson.
And now Brad's got the ball. He won't hold it long because he's not great with the ball. He is good there, though.
And a score!
Oh, beauty. Big goal, 12-9. Great pass. Kotz cuts through. There he hits the hip. Beautiful.
The hat trick for Kotz. The Wings by 3, and we'll be back. Along with Tony Seaman, I'm Mark Zumov. There you see the statistics. The Wings with their first 3-goal lead of the game. And that goal moments ago by Brad Kotz, the first shorthanded goal of the year here at the Spectrum.
That was a great play. And Gary Martin saw Brad come across, gave him a nice shot, got Sawicki moving because Kotz was moving with the ball, and put it by him off the hip.
Now Detroit needs something in a hurry. Rodriguez with a shot. He's one of their better scorers, but not right there. Possession will go to Philadelphia. So Kotz, Conley, and Tucker with 3-goal hat tricks tonight. Hasn't Kevin Bilger been very steady in the nets here in the second half?
Boy, he sure has been. He's just been super. He got back his confidence. He's made some big saves. He only had that one where he tried to anticipate and guess that he's given up so far. So just an outstanding effort.
The Turbos now back to test him. Rodriguez can't get by the Wings defense. We're playing 5-on-5 now. Hamlin. Out in front, shot wide near side.
Tucker got lucky.
Goes ahead for French. And there's Sawicki to come out and beat French to it.
You see what a good athlete Sawicki is when he's out of there. They've had a couple times tonight they could have lined him up. Here's a breakaway.
Dirgil, here's the face-off man, going in for a goal. He goes in, he scores!
Tell you what, Mark, there's nobody on the team that deserves it more than this kid. He gives you everything he's got. He's the unsung hero most of the time. What a great job. And he goes off the hip after a couple nice fakes. Billy Dirgil. Here he is, coming right at you. You're the goalie. You're Sawicki. Fake one. And there it is, off the hip. Beautiful shot.
And the sweet irony, Tony, is we've had the studs going in on breakaways tonight. Kotz and Tucker and all of them. In 10 opportunities, the one man who plays the least because he's the face-off specialist, Bill Dirgil, finally gets a breakaway goal. 1 for 10 tonight for the Wings in that department. French in front, and a save by Sawicki. The goal light went on, but there was no goal, rest assured. And back comes Detroit. They need something here with 5:45 to go in regulation, and they're down by 4, the largest lead of the game. Shot, and Bilger, who's been a stalwart in goal in the second half, makes the save. And there's Durgel there. He is brought down from behind, and a penalty's coming up against Detroit. And wasn't that foolish by the Turbo player with his team already down 4 goals here, and it's getting late.
It sure was. He roped him down around the neck. Take a seat, Mr. Barnes, for 2 minutes. Durgel, I think, is just tired. He's been up and down 3 times with a face-off. See him get tackled up there on the top of your screen. You know, just for a second, Mark, going back to that last face-off, Durgel looked up, saw who he was facing off against, and told his man who was in front of him to the left, get out of here, move that guy out of here. He moved him out of there, and Durgel put the ball, for the first time tonight, straight ahead, picked it up, and they were down on a fast break. So, I mean, that's just the kind of skills that this guy has. God, I hope he's not hurt. He might have a cramp out there.
And with a pause in the action, 5:29 to go, the Wings leading Detroit by 4. We are back, and Bill Durgel is on the Wings bench. He appears to be okay, went off under his own power. Meantime, the Wings attacking here, up 4 with just over 5 minutes to go in the 4th quarter.
That was a great fake by Andy Wilson. He went all the way through, letting everybody think he had the ball. Oh.
Wow, what a save by Sawicki. A brilliant setup by Kacper French, and all he had to do was kick it goalward, and Sawicki came up big, and now he's way out of his net to try to give Detroit some kind of spark. Here's Aldridge, set up in front, broken up by Kotz, playing good defense there, and Bilger there to clean up. Back comes French, 2-on-1, feet up ahead, shot, save, and doesn't go in, it does, a score!
Here we go, Frenchie, great pass, draws 2 defenders. Marcon, underneath, and in it goes. Here we see it from Sawicki. You see it crawl through, and there it is in. Great pass from French, drew 2 people. Hahn snuck in the backside.
And in a league where they are very stingy with giving out assists, goaltender Kevin Bilger has 3 tonight, including 1 right there on the goal by Hahn.
Yeah, his outlet passes have been outstanding, but once again, we made the point real early, Mark. You can't make an outlet pass unless you make a save. And as you pointed out so well in the last 2-3 minutes, this whole 3rd and 4th periods, Bilger has just been a wall himself. He's really done a great job. I think maybe one of the biggest turning points of this whole game was when Ron Martinello went down with the knee injury, because he's the real good shooter for this club.
He is their leading goal scorer, one of 2 sons of the coach who play for this team in the #1 line. Here's Wilson, trailer, Kotz in, score! And the route is on.
Here he comes, Tony Resch, goes across to Brad Kotz, bumps, puts it in the near side. Says, you've stopped me too many times on the long side. I'm going inside you now. Number 4 for Brad Kotz.
Scoring his 4th goal of the evening, number 3, Brad.
Not bad for your second lieutenant at the University of Pennsylvania, huh?
Not bad at all. He's beautiful. I'll tell you, I think that we're watching a very, very tired Detroit team right now. I mean, they've been out. The speed has been very noticeable all night long. The Wings are just faster. They've got 3 very quick lines, and they've been running and running and running, and it's catching up to Detroit now.
Well, they flew in today. They arrived in Philadelphia at 1 o'clock, checked into their hotels, and, you know, your clock just gets thrown off when you fly. In front is Delegati and Sawicki there to make the save. So the Wings up 15-9. That's 15 goals on a team that is averaging just about half of that in terms of their defense. And some frustration there on the part of the Turbos as the ball's just thrown away. It'll be Wings possession with 3:44 to go. So it was a close game, and in fact, an 8-6 Turbo lead at halftime. French in on Sawicki makes the save. Delegati still playing for keeps, that's for sure.
Yeah, French came back to pay somebody back on him, too.
Don't forget, Wings will be back here in the Spectrum on March the 10th. The Wings take on the Washington Wings.
DeSico, Delegati on a break. Score!
Here's Big Lou. Gets the pass, comes in off the substitution. Fakes him, and then he goes right over the shoulder. Sawicki just can't get it out there in time. Tries to shoot the arm out. Here you see it from behind. Here's the good fake. Louis just got too much velocity and too good of a shot. And Mr. Sawicki is taken out of the game by his coach. No matter they scored 16 goals, against anybody else, Mark, it might have been 30.
He's a fan favorite. Lou, they love to say.
See, Durgill just got him away. See, he went frontwards again. Moves his guys out of there. He just wasn't quick enough to get the ball.
11 minutes, 43 seconds.
The new goaltender for Detroit is Ed McGaffey, who's played sparingly for Detroit this year. Sawicki being the #1 goaltender, at least coming in. But Sawicki barraged with 16 scores by Philadelphia here. We only have 3:10 to play. It's a rout. And it was nip and tuck for the first 3 quarters. And then the Wings just poured it on here in the 4th.
Yeah, they've really shot well. They've really taken out every opportunity that's been given to them here in the second half and just really done a nice job.
Sawicki, nonetheless, still very impressive tonight, especially when you take into consideration that the Wings have outshot Detroit 63-34.
Ed McGaffey, #1, is now in
Think of how many goals Detroit would have given up without Sawicki this season.
Unbelievable. Yeah, the Wings are putting together. This is 2 really impressive games in a row now. They look great against Baltimore.
And that was Gabrielson, and you know, it could get ugly here with the goaltender who has not seen very much action this year and in fact comes in pulled off the bench, that being Ed McGaffey. So some stats and some points here may be padded on part of the Wings players.
Yeah, here we see Gabrielson putting it away. This is a nice velocity, hard overhand shot. And he gets his goal. And once again, we have his dad sitting right here down to our left, Mark. And he's got the red suspenders on, and he'll be running up and down the steps here in any 2 minutes.
Gabrielson, who grew up just up the road, an All-American at Princeton High School, very coachable, says Dave Evans of the rookie Scott Gabrielson. 6 goals for the Wings in 4 minutes and 19 seconds. So it was just a short time ago that we had a 2-goal game, and suddenly it's become a rout in that short a time.
Boy, there's nothing like speed and nothing like quickness, and it's just paying off for the Wings here. You put that with the good shooters and the talent that they've got. They're just doing a great job. And as I said, Detroit, they're going to see 2 other teams just like this coming up against them in the next 3 weeks. So a big night here for the Wings as they go into first place.
Yes, a win will tie them with New York, and we'll talk all about that in just a moment as Chris goes in, tries to get by Wilson, and there is Bilger doing what he has all second half, making the save. He's given up only 1 goal. In fact, the Wings outscoring Detroit 11-1.
Only giving up 35 shots tonight, the Wings have. That's got to be a league record, I would think, for Lowe.
65-35 right now, the shots with 1:40 to go. So with a win, the Wings going to 4-1. New York, the defending champion, also 4-1. But remember, the Wings have already lost this year to New York, so that gives the Saints first place. And what do you know, another goal by Tots. That is 5 on the night for Brad Tots.
Yeah, Brad says, man, Sawicki's not there. Let me fire 1 more here. Let's fatten up a little bit. Here we go. Here's what you look at. You want to be a goalie? He's down low. He puts it up over the shoulder. You can see how true to form he is. I mean, his hands are out in front of him. His stick's up high. Puts it where he wants to put it.
5 on the night for Kotz to go along with 3-goal hat tricks for John Conley and John Tucker. And it indeed has been the Brad Kotz show here in the second half. All 5 goals, by the way, coming in the second half.
You know, it's amazing, Mark. Last week on Sunday, it was a runaway in the 4th quarter. The crowd got quiet, and everybody kind of just watched. Tonight, they're up on their feet. There's 9 goals here, and they're still going crazy and wanting more. And I haven't seen very many people leaving, and there's only a minute left.
The Wings need 1 more, by the way, 1 more goal to tie their season high. They had 19 in the home and season opener against New England as French fired that one wide. with less than a minute now to play.
Detroit's not even going after the ground ball anymore. I mean, they know it's over, and it's just fatten up your average time here for the Wings. Let's just hope nobody gets hurt.
The Wings, by the way, still have to play at Detroit. Don't you think the Turbos will circle that on the schedule?
Oh yeah, certainly they'll want them back out there at their home place. But this is a real significant win for the Wings.
It'll be a March 4th date at Joe Louis Arena. And the next Wings game, by the way, here against Washington on March 10th. And Detroit scores, but of course it's all academic and rather meaningless, with the Wings now up by 8 goals with just 25 seconds to go. And Kevin Bilger just tossed his goal stick in disgust.
Yeah, he wasn't happy about that. Rodriguez is on all the offense that the Detroit Turbos really have left, with the Martinello getting hurt. And but he puts it home, and I'll tell you what, he paid the price after he shot it. DeSico really lowered him.
Bilger, who had 41 saves last week against Baltimore, clearly the starter now for the Wings. Clearly the man. He and Vinny Pfeiffer had been sharing the bulk of the duties last year.
Yeah, in fact, Kevin Harley didn't really play that much last year unless Vinny really got tired. Here's Durzo. Oh, nice elbow save.
Gabrielson with a rebound, and there's McGaffey, who's probably warmed up a bit by now. With 15 seconds to go in the game. Gabrielson again, and he scores.
See what a good little athlete he is, boy. He went to the corners to go get that ball, hunted it out, brought it around, dodges, puts it home. Here you see, just picked it up, great face dodge, puts him by, goes to the outside hip.
Now let me ask you something. The Wings up by 8 goals with 12 seconds to go, and they're attacking. Does Detroit take note of this and say, hey, you guys piled it on at your place?
Well, you only got 45 seconds to shoot. Do you just hold it out and say that's the end of the game?
He only got 12 seconds to go in the game.
You pay him to shoot. Tucker's going to do what you asked. Tucker just threw it up in the crowd.
So the Wings, with a big game and a big win, as they beat Detroit by a score of 19-10. Tony, one final comment.
Well, at the beginning of the show, we said, can Kevin Bilger live up to Sawicki? We knew Sawicki was great. He was great. But the speed was just too much for the Detroit Turbos to handle. They got the Sawicki in the late third and the early fourth quarter. And on top of that, Bilger, except for 3 minutes, has another real strong game.
Paul Jolovitz kept our numbers. J.R. Aquila, the director. John Slobodkin, our producer. For Tony Seaman, I'm Mark Zumoff. The final score, the Wings beat Detroit by 9. Have a good night, everyone.